what's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 10 of the AKSports Podcast. It's been a while, so I've been moving back. I moved back home for summer break, and I've been sick, so if you can tell by my voice. So that's why I took a little bit of time off, but today we're getting back into it with some NBA stuff. So we'll start off with the playoff stuff, and we'll go into some draft grades and stuff like that. So we'll start off with Phoenix, Dallas. So Dallas came back in the series and tied it 2-2. Chris Paul had probably one of the best games of his career and probably one of the worst games of his career in the same series. He went 14 for 14 in one of the games. And then the previous game, he fouled out with 6 fouls, like early in the fourth, and then had like 6 points. So it was definitely an off night for him. He had like the game before that where they also lost. He had I think it was 7 turnovers, which is very high for him because he's only had 7 turnovers in the past 2 games combined. Luka has been going crazy. I guess I'm a Suns fan, but I like Luka as well. So watching them go at it it's a really fun series. I'm glad they tied it up, and now it's a best of 3. So I want the Suns to win, but I would not be mad if Luka goes to the conference finals. Next we have Miami versus Philly. So everyone thought that since Joel was out, the series was over, and I thought Joel was out for the entire series because, dude, I thought he fractured his face. He had a concussion and everything. So I was just confused as to how he was playing, but masked Embiid with the torn thumb ligament. He's been going crazy. They brought the series back. So I obviously want Joel Embiid to win. Jokic won the MVP also. Tyler Hero won 6th Man of the Year. I think Embiid should have won MVP. I think a lot of people thought that. I just think offensively, Jokic might be a little better than Embiid, because of assists and passing. But I think Embiid's a better scorer. Jokic can pass better, and then I think defensively Embiid is just out of the park better than Jokic, just because what he does on the defensive side of the ball is just insane. But yeah, I think Philly wins this in 7. I think Phoenix could win this in 6, but I think Phoenix wins in 7 as well. Excuse me. Golden State, Memphis. The Warriors had a tough time yesterday. Against the Grizzlies, but they came out on top without John Morant playing. The game was so funny yesterday because every time Dylan Brooks touched the ball, the whole crowd went boo, for the entirety of the game. It was a fun little thing going on. But yeah, literally every time he touched the ball, the crowd booed him. John Morant was out with a knee sprain, a right knee sprain. The doctor said that the reason it was caused was when Jordan Poole pulled on it when he was reaching for the ball. I feel like that wasn't a dirty player. I don't think he was intentionally going for his knee. When you look at it, his eyes are looking at the ball, and the ball's coming in that direction. So he swipes for the ball. He misses the ball because Ja already has control of it, and then he grabs his knee. So I don't know. I think that could go either way. I think Golden State wins this one. They're already up 3-1. So yeah, and then Milwaukee, Boston. Excuse me, tired. Milwaukee, Boston. Yeah, so I watched that game yesterday too. Jason Tatum was super clutch yesterday. So was Al Horford having the best game of his career at age 35. Yeah, the chippiness going on between Giannis and Al Horford was hella funny to watch. Al Horford just I don't know what, he just reminds me of an uncle, bro. He's just an uncle out there playing basketball. Uncle Al. But yeah, Jason Tatum hit some clutch shots yesterday. The 3, he wasn't doing too well the entirety of the game before, but the beginning of the game, the first couple quarters, he wasn't doing that well. But I still think Milwaukee wins this in 7. Honestly, I don't want to pick this one because I don't really care who wins this one because Milwaukee wins. Everyone loves Giannis. Boston wins, it's like Jason Tatum's like finally getting that opportunity to go to the finals. So, I also didn't like at the end when Jaylen Brown like had that chippy thing with Giannis, and Giannis just puts his hand on his shoulder, and then like Jaylen Brown's like, "Get your hand off me!" Like that was just like dumb. Like, but I guess like it's playoff basketball. You guys like hate the other team, so you're just like you're not supposed to allow like I don't know. It's like soft to a certain extent. Speaking of soft, the refs in all of these series have been absolute trash. Regardless of what team I've been supporting, like for every single team, it's just bad calls like all around. Like I'll be watching the Sixers game, and there's so many bad calls against the Sixers and against the Heat. Like I just don't get it. But I guess if there's bad calls both ways, it shouldn't matter. So it just cancels out. But when it's late game, it kind of like ends up being a little having more impact than it should, I guess. But yeah, I think if I were to predict right now, I think Philly wins in 7, Phoenix wins in 7, Golden State wins in 6 or in 5, and Milwaukee wins in 7. And then I think Milwaukee wins, and I think Phoenix wins. And I think, wait, that's a repeat, dude. Do you really think it's going to repeat? I honestly think Golden State might make it instead of the Suns. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go Philly for sure. I think Philly's going to win. With Embiid back, it's hard. I just don't think. Philly wins and Golden State wins, that's for sure. Phoenix wins. You know what? I'm gonna put Boston in there for Will, my boy Will. See how, because I want to see Jason Tatum in the conference finals. So Phoenix, Golden State. Oh, I realized I didn't even have this shown the entire time. Nice, love it. Okay, so Phoenix wins, Golden State wins, Philly wins, and Boston wins. And then I think Phoenix, Golden State. If Golden State starts off like in the series as they did against the Grizzlies last game, I think Phoenix wins. So I'm going to say Phoenix wins that. So Phoenix goes to the finals. And then I think Boston beats Philly. I can honestly see Philly winning. Dude, I don't know. I don't know who wins. I'm going to get to that once this round is over and who's actually playing and stuff. We're going to get to that. But a couple of the top players in this playoff so far has been, for me, definitely Luka Doncic, Jordan Poole, Giannis. I'm trying to think of players from each team. So Phoenix, I would say the best player has been probably Devin Booker, just because Chris Paul has been very inconsistent. Like, Chris Paul had a very historical game, but like Devin Booker's just been more consistent. So I'm gonna say Devin Booker, then Luka for Dallas. Golden State, I'm gonna say Jordan Poole because I think he's had the most points. Yeah, Jordan Poole or Steph, like he could go either way. Memphis, Ja, obviously. Miami, Jimmy Butler. Philly, I would say James Harden, but he needs to put up more games like that last game he had. 31 points. It's kind of old flash. He was taking more threes than he usually does, and he was hitting more threes than he usually does. The step back threes were back in play. He was going to the line with legitimate foul calls rather than the stupid stuff he used to do before. But yeah, he had a really good game last game. 31 points. I think they play again tonight, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, they play tonight, I'm pretty sure. And the Mavs and Suns play tonight too. Yeah, Mavs Suns play at 9, Sixers Heat at 6:30. So we'll get an update on that tomorrow probably for you guys. And then Milwaukee, you got to be honest. Giannis has been going crazy, even with Chris Middleton out, like one of their great shooters out. They've had close games with Boston. Boston's got to be Jason Tatum. Yeah, I think some of them were pretty obvious. It's just like Philly. I think you could go Embiid. You probably got to go Embiid. Golden State, you could go two players. You could go Curry or you could go Jordan Poole. Like Curry's going to be the best player on the court every single, like almost 80% of the time. Um, but what's it called? When you have Jordan Poole, he's like, and Curry's getting a lot of attention. Jordan Poole's gonna have the best results or the best production at that point of time. Um, but I do think that this has been a great playoff so far. Besides the refs have been absolute like just terrible. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for the NBA playoffs. We'll do more as the series continues for all of these. But yeah, let's move on to some NFL draft grades. All right, so we're gonna start off with our first pick. The Chiefs' first pick was Trent McDuffie at pick number 21. Um, yeah, so we traded our 29th pick, our 94, and our 121 to move up to 29 to pick up Trent McDuffie. And so the Patriots fell to 29. But McDuffie was the first corner drafted by the Chiefs in the first round since 2015, which was when they selected Marcus Peters at number 18. And he's the first cornerback the Chiefs have picked before the fourth round since 2016. So yeah, they traded up with New England to go get him. For this pick, the Chiefs played the board really well. Yeah, they didn't expect McDuffie to fall this far. He was expected to go anywhere from 10 to 20. Um, so when he was available at 21, the Chiefs called up Bill Belichick and made it happen. So yeah, we gave up 29, 94, and 121 to go up to 21. What the Patriots did with pick 29 was a bit strange. I'm gonna let that one sink. If you got it, you got it. If you didn't, you didn't. Um, so yeah, he was a top three corner on almost everyone's board. Personally, I thought he was a top three corner. And if you break that down, I thought he was the smartest corner, but I didn't think he was like the most athletic. Like you can see, like he's 5'11", 193, like under 30-inch arms, and his hands are like 8 inches, 9 inches. So like athletically, he's not like the greatest. You get what I'm saying? Or like talent, like the build wise, he's not the greatest, but he is the smartest corner in this draft. Um, and that's to me, that's just how it is. And then a lot of analysts had to say that he doesn't have the typical height or build, but he has the athleticism and the smarts to be a lockdown corner right away for the Chiefs. I think he has the ability to come into KC and start be a starter immediately. If you're getting a first round pick, the 21st pick overall getting spent on you, then I feel like you're expected to make a significant contribution. Um, so yeah, I think he's gonna just be a starter right away, make impact. He did play a little bit more zone though, at Washington. So this might, even though the Chiefs play a lot of man, like Trent McDuffie played a little bit of man at Washington, but even though the Chiefs play a lot of man, this might be a better um, move because it might indicate that the Chiefs are transitioning a little more into zone defense. We saw that with the interest in James Bradbury, that James Bradbury plays a lot of zone with the Giants, and he just got released, by the way. We might be signing him, but I doubt it after the addition of Lonnie Johnson as well. Um, but yeah, so he played a lot of zone at Washington at UW, and I think he has the ability to play man inside like the slot because he can read the play really well. Like his prospect grade's a 6.7. If I'm being realistic, I'd say it's like a 7.9 or like an 8. Like I think this his first year is going to be a crazy impact year for him. Um, I wouldn't put it past him that he's a Pro Bowler within his second season. Like he's that good of a player. He's just so smart, does the right play every single time. Um, I think that this pick makes our secondary just so much better because we had L'Jarius Sneed and he was really good, but we put him at nickel a lot. But along with this pick, so now we have Sneed, McDuffie, and our third will probably be Fenton. And Fenton's good. He's kind of the similar to Trent McDuffie. He's athletically not that great, but he knows the system. He's been here for a while, so he knows how the playbook works. So I think the Chiefs were really like upset at their secondary after this year because a lot of our games would come down to Patrick like just having to do something, pulling something out of his ass to get a play or something, and that was because our defense couldn't hold the other team. Like in the Bills game, you can see our defense wasn't doing shit. Like we were not doing anything. So they want to be able to win. I think now the whole like aura around the Chiefs is changing because we're getting a slightly less potent offense in the sense that we don't have Tyreek Hill, who's that deep threat. And obviously, like, we would have wanted Tyreek Hill and we would have wanted our defense to get a little better, but that's kind of what we had been doing for such a long time. And Tyreek was asking for so much money that I think Brett Veach decided it would be best to not completely, like, do a mini rebuild in the sense that we're going to let go of Tyreek Hill because he's not worth $30 million to us. Like, he is worth $30 million, sure, but, like, we don't have enough to pay him, and we want to keep Patrick Mahomes and keep the overall team better. So we're going to get $20 million of cap space, and they got 5 draft picks, which was insane. This allowed us to get Trent McDuffie. So instead of Tyreek Hill, we now have a solid corner. And we'll talk about some of the other picks. But so our offense might have gotten a little worse if you want to see it that way. But I still think like our offense is going to be just as good. It's just going to be different. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just going to look a little different. You're not going to have so many over the top plays or all these like 80, 60-yard bombs. Like you're not going to have that. And we didn't have that much of that last year because they would always play too high safety on us. But now if they play too high safety, we're going to have 3 receivers running underneath route, which helps us a lot because we have Juju, we have Skye Moore, and we have Mecole. Mecole and MVS are going to take the top off the defense with their speed, and those are going to be the majority of our deep ball receivers. But Juju and Skye Moore, if they take those 2 underneath routes, Kelsey's going to take 2 underneath routes, or they're all going to run an underneath route. Out of those 3, one of those is getting doubled. That's Travis Kelsey. Travis Kelsey's getting doubled. I don't think he's going to have a great year this season just because of how much he's getting doubled, and he's going to be our main receiver is what people are going to think. But because of that, because of the attention that Travis Kelsey is going to get, I think Skye Moore and Juju are going to accelerate and just like be really good inside the slot. I still think that Mecole and MVS have potential as well. I think Mecole, if he gets a little more better at like change of direction or making his routes a little more crisp, because he's really good vertical speed, but he hasn't shown much in terms of that lateral agility or that elusiveness, you know what I mean? So if he gets better at that, if he can train himself to do that a little bit better, then I think there's a shot that he becomes our number 1. But as of right now, I think Juju's going to be our number 1. But yeah, transitioning back to Trent McDuffie, he's just he's just so smart. After a lot of the tape that I've watched on him, he doesn't like panic during the play. He'll leave a little bit of gap between him and the receivers, which allows him to give him time to react. So he'll leave some space between the receivers, but he'll always watch the quarterback, but he'll still be on the receiver. So whenever he sees the quarterback make the throw, he can start running. Like he has 4.4 speed, right? But he's the type of guy to recognize something that's happening at the play, happening in the play earlier. So his speed technically goes up because he has extra time to react because he has already realized what is going on in the play. So with that extra time to react, he's able to get to the ball and make a play. And he's gotten really good at that. And the Chiefs took a lot more corners. They took Joshua Williams, they took Watson, they took all these guys, right? And they signed Lonnie Johnson from the Texans. So I'm sure the Chiefs are trying to say, like, yeah, we want a lockdown defense with our starters, and then our other guys need to be able to um, like not give up big plays. Because you put in Joshua Williams or you put in one of your second string corners, and then boom, deep play touchdown. Then you the whole point is gone. Because like you want to be able to stop them on every play. Sure, there's gonna be a couple of big touchdowns here and there, and obviously you're not gonna like shut out every team you play, but your goal is are like the average points scored against us was super high. I think it was like 32. And like sure, Mahomes was expected to put up 30 something points every game. But like that's just not feasible for like a quarterback throughout the entire season. Some people like you could say that with like the Rams, but you're only putting up 30 something points every game if you have a somewhat good defense. If you have a terrible defense, you're not putting up 30 points a game every game. So that's the reason why I think Trent McDuffie is just going to be a really good pickup. I graded this an A+ pickup, um, just because he can make a lot of plays in the run game as well. But overall, I would give Trent McDuffie an A+. The Trent McDuffie pick an A+ grade. We'll see how rookie minicamp goes. I've been looking a little bit at some of the stuff they've been doing, and he looks good so far. Some of the clips that they have of him show him his hips change direction are really really good stuff to improve, like that he can use to improve other aspects of his game as well. So overall, I'm gonna grade this pick an A+. All right, so now we got George Karlaftis, my boy from Purdue. As I can see, the pretty flag. Um, so, yeah, so I'm sure you guys think that I'm like biased as to why I would grade this pick so high, and we'll get to my grade later. But just because, as a fellow, Purdue Boilermaker, I'm sure you guys know how I feel about this pick. He was a very impactful and productive edge rusher for Purdue this past season. Even through a lot of double teams, I'm sure. If you're a Chiefs fan, you saw like the interview that he had. He was like, no more double teams. He's just excited to be able to play like one on one. He did get double teamed a lot. He's that like power edge rusher type. So his game is mostly based on like being able to like bulldoze people to the quarterback, like just take the offensive line with him rather than get around him. So that's a negative that some people say. I know Ryan Tracy said it a lot, was that he doesn't have as much bend. He can't like corner through he can't go around. He can't corner. He's more of like a straight like vertical speed kind of guy, as we said. And he's mostly power. Like if you look, he's 6'4", 266. 32-inch arms, and then like 10-inch hands. So bend and corner is something that can be taught. It comes with the flexibility of your body. So if he does get a little more flexible and is able to corner, he would be an insane edge rusher, because he already has that power, that insane power that allows him to just push the offensive line to the quarterback. But I do think that his ability to not bend and corner is the reason that he fell to 30. I think if he was able to do all those things, he would have been one of the top 5 guys gone at this position. Well, I think he still was, but like he would have gone a lot higher. I'm just really happy I'm able to like cheer for someone who was at Purdue and now is on the Chiefs. Like, I wouldn't have minded though trading up to 26 and getting Jermaine Johnson again and giving up some of our picks later, because I do think that we didn't need to draft 3 corners, but then again we would have had to trade like to go from 30 to 26. We would have had to give up a lot. Again, we would have had to probably give up like the our 90. We already gave a 94. We probably have to give up like 62, honestly, to go up that much. Yeah, but I'm just happy that the first 2 picks that the Chiefs took addressed the 2 biggest needs they had at defensive end and corner. But going back to like Karlaftis specifically, like I think he's also a player that has day one impact player starting ability. Like he could start for the Chiefs now. I think he's that type of player just because of how powerful he is. And Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, when they called Karlaftis, he said that he was his number 1 edge rusher, and Ryan Tracy's been and Dan of RGR Football have been saying this for so long that Karlaftis is exactly what Spags type of player, like just straight power. Oh, my voice is getting bad. Um, but straight power. So when he called him, he was like, "Hey, not for nothing. You were by far my top guy for everything." Um, but yeah. Along with this, the Chiefs tagged Melvin Ingram for their $4 million contract, which means that by the end of or before OTAs, if he gets another offer, um, that's higher than $4 million, he can go. But if he doesn't, he has to sign with the Chiefs. That's what the tag does for him. So, um, I think another thing that a lot of people are talking about with Karlaftis. But yeah, so something that a lot of analysts and people have been talking about is his ability to move inside next to Chris Jones, just because of how much power he has. It allows him, like if we were to have Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Karlaftis, and then Melvin Ingram or Leo Chanel as someone as the secondary edge rusher, I feel like that would be a scary front four. Um, yeah, so with with Melvin Ingram, I think Karlaftis is a great pick because Karlaftis bumped inside on a third down would be an insane front four. I think Karlaftis has a really like high ceiling, but his floor is also pretty high too. So like he's gonna be good regardless, but he could be a lot better if he works on some other things. Um, I think the main thing just comes down to if he's able to learn how to bend and corner. I think he's just gonna be a great addition for the Chiefs. So we'll now move on to Skye Moore. All right, so on to Skye Moore. Also my grade for Karloftis's was an A. But yeah, with the second round, 54th pick selection, um, the Chiefs selected Skye Moore out of Western Michigan. Um, my boy Chris, you guys saw him in the last episode. His brother actually plays football for Western Michigan, so Chris has met Skye Moore, which is a pretty cool thing. So yeah, he's also like the same kind of boat as McDuffie. Like he's super smart. Yeah, he doesn't have like the athletics as you can see, like height 5'10", weight 195. He does have 31-inch arms, and he has the biggest hands in the receiving like draft, which is insane at a height of 5'10". So he still runs a 4.4. You can see all his like combine results there. Um, People do think he was the most NFL ready wide receiver come to like it for the draft, and for him to get paired with a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes is just for him like a great thing. And I think this was another trade that occurred with New England that we traded back 4 spots because we knew none of the other teams were going to take him. And we traded back 4 spots with New England, got an extra fifth round out of it, and I think New England took Taquan Thornton. I'm not really sure. I don't remember exactly who New England took. Um, but yeah, I think Skye fits mostly into the slot receiver role just because of how well he's able to run routes. Um, I don't know if he necessarily has that size or speed to be an outside receiver like Tyreek. Um, but I do think that like him being such a good slot receiver allows Juju to transcend his limitations of just being in the slot. And oh, oh, okay, I don't know why that happened. Okay, so it transcends. It allows Juju to transcend his limitation of just playing in the slot. If Juju's able to be a little faster on the outside and just get those one-on-one like jump balls, I think Juju has the opportunity to be a legitimate number one receiver, just because of his size, honestly, and yeah. Um, yeah, I just think that another thing with Skye is that Um, he has potential to be like Skye could also be the number one if Skye is good enough to have with those routes that he gets separation in any position, whether he's the X receiver, the wide receiver, the slot receiver. Um, I genuinely think like he has opportunity to be the number one receiver for the Chiefs. Um, and like I think I talked about this a little before, is where the Chiefs receiving core before with Tyreek was like skewed almost. Like we would have one really good play. What is going on? Why is it Microsoft? What the hell? Um, yeah. So um, I see that tripped me out. I forgot where I was. I genuinely lost all track of where I was. Um, yes. Okay. So our receiving core with Tyreek, it was like one player was really good, Tyreek. Then there's like crazy decline in the talent of the other players. Like it was literally like this, like Tyreek, and Nicole, like whoever you want to put it, like Nicole, like Byron Pringle, Demarcus, like they were. It was a crazy like slope of receivers. Like there was that one guy who was really good. Everyone else, like Demarcus Robinson, would may have drops. Tyreek would have a lot of drops too. So you can't really like put that against just Demarcus Robinson. But like Travis Kelsey is what like leveled it somewhat. But now the dynamic of the receiving core is kind of like it's kind of level, and it's like this. If this was the old one, this is such a weird demonstration. This would be the new one. It's just like a level, like each receiver has their own talent and they're really good at it. Like MVS is good at taking the top off the defense. He's a deep ball threat. That is all. Like that is 98% of what he's gonna do for the Chiefs. Skye Moore and Juju slot receivers, and either one can be on the outside. So whichever one is on the inside, the other one's on the outside. Mecole, another fast guy who can play anything. Um, the jet sweep, um, the seams through the inside where you've seen against the Titans where Mahomes has that jump pass, those routes. So overall, our receiving core I think has gotten better without Tyreek. Just like because the other three receivers now are really good. We still, I would prefer to have like an established like alpha receiver, whether you call it DK Debo or Odell or like anyone. Just an established number one receiver helps because then they get the majority of the attention and then your other receivers can do well. But with the new Chiefs dynamic, I feel like I don't know what the defense is going to do now because there's no Tyreek. So are you still going to play too high safety? You play too high safety, Juju and Skye are going to be open all day. Or we're going to run the ball. Actually, I don't know if we're going to run the ball. We're the Chiefs, but hopefully we run the ball. So it's just like the overall dynamic of the receiving core has changed. And Skye Moore is a sleeper pick at 54. My friend Zach, he's a Colts fan. He wanted Skye. I'm pretty sure they ended up taking either Calvin Austin or Alec Pierce. I think it was Alec Pierce. Um, but he's also a really good receiver. We'll talk about some of the other receivers later on. But yeah, this is Skye Moore, and I gave this pick an A grade as well. So now I think our next pick was Brian Cook, and I think Leo Chanel and then Darion Canard are the couple of them. I think we're going to stop it at Darion Canard because I do not know a lot about our seventh rounders. So we will now move on to Brian Cook. So on to Brian Cook. Brian Cook. He's from Cincy. I think the video in the bottom right is showing from the website that the time he got drafted. So he's a safety. He's a hard hitting safety. I don't think he attended the combine, but he's not the fastest guy, which is why he plays safety. I don't think we could put him in at corner. But he has really big impact in the run game. Just because of how hard he hits, he what's it called? He played a lot of like obviously a lot of zone as a safety either way. But he was one of the leading safeties for Cincinnati. Very hard hitting safety. I think that's his main thing. He had a lot of tackles for loss, a lot of forced fumbles. You can see he's instinctive, physical. He finds and makes plays on the ball. But I think that's something the Chiefs needed on this defense was a physical player. I gave this pick a B plus just because I didn't know we needed another safety. At this pick, I would have preferred. What's it called? Who was I? I would have preferred another defensive end like Cam Thomas, a guy with a little bit more bend, or another wide receiver. Um, and David Bell, another Purdue guy. Um, but yeah, I think that overall this is gonna end up being good. I know Ryan Tracy had him pretty high, like 10 spots above everybody else, like mock drafts, and then he went even 10 spots higher than that. So the Chiefs definitely saw something in him. So I'm hoping it turns out. But overall, I think this is gonna be a good addition. So let's move on to our next pick. So on to our next pick with pick 103 in the third round. We got Leo Chanel, linebacker from Wisconsin. If you remember, I think episode 2 it was with my boy Pratik, Wisconsin Badger. But yeah, overall, he is an athletic freak. Like for a linebacker to run a 4.53 at 6'3", 250 is pretty insane. He I think is going to fit into our Sam linebacker role just because of that's what Wisconsin asked him to do. Wisconsin's the type of school to when they recruit players, they look at a player and they're like, "You're good at this. We are solely going to give you that responsibility of Sam linebacker. That is what you are going to do." He hasn't shown much in coverage. I think like one or two plays. And when he did play in coverage, he was good. So I don't think the Chiefs are going to be using a lot of coverage plays out of him. But I do think that as a Sam linebacker and a potential edge rusher, extra edge rusher, blitzer, he's going to have crazy impact just because of his athletic ability. I think he's a great pickup. Just bolstering this defense, like just every single pick after pick at every position, we're just increasing it. I genuinely think our first 4 defensive pick might be like starters. George Karlaftis is going to be a starter. Trent McDuffie is going to be a starter. Brian Cook might not be a starter because we still have Juan Thornhill, Justin Reed. He could definitely be a starter though. And Leo Chanel could be a starter. So it's crazy that even up to round 3, like the end of the round 3, we were able to get starting caliber players. Is something that the Chiefs were really good at this year in their draft. So overall, really happy with how it went up to round 3. Obviously, like some of the picks later on, I'm really happy about too. But I gave the Leo Chanel pick an A minus, just because I didn't know if we needed that much talent at linebacker. But because we already had Willie Gay Jr. and Nick Bolton, but this addition only helps us, doesn't hurt us. So yeah, there's that. So let's move on to our next pick. So our next pick was Joshua Williams out of Fayetteville State. The reason I think we picked him was because for his size. He's 6'3", 195, 32-inch arms, and 90 chance. He just that like big, long, lanky corner. I think this is like our replacement for Charvarius Ward, the big corner that we put on like big receivers. I just think his addition is good. I didn't know if we needed another corner, but I do love this pickup. I would give this pickup a B, just because I don't know if we needed another corner this early. Just because we signed Lonnie Johnson, like if we could get Lonnie Johnson, or if we could have gotten Bradbury, I would have loved a receiver pick here, or like a defensive tackle, or an offensive lineman or something. But I think this pick is a good pick overall. I gave it a B. I wish I saw a little more speed, but at that size, 4.53 is definitely respectable. He is just definitely a bigger receiver. I think if we scroll down on here, you guys can see some of his highlights. Yeah, see, okay, well, this pick was terrible. I'm kidding. He should have caught that though. 81 tackles, 21 pass breakups, 5 interceptions in 29 career games. So it's for a fourth round pick, you can't really say much, but I do think this is a great pick. Hopefully, he's better than people expect, and he can prove everyone wrong in the NFL. So on to our next pick. So here we have our second pick in the 5th round, Darion Canard, offensive tackle, right tackle. They have him as guard, but he played right tackle at Kentucky. And I really, really like this pick. He was super, super pissed off when he got the call because he did not think he was going to go this far. He thought he was going to be a second, third round pick. So he was really pissed off. So much to the point where he was pissed off when he was talking to like coach and like the thing he was like, yeah, thank you. Like this is, I'm ready to put in the work. Like, don't be pissed off with the people that picked you. Pissed off at everyone else who didn't when they had the chance to earlier. But I also think he has starting potential. Like I think his main critiques said that in the Senior Bowl his feet were slow. And that was pretty much it. So he couldn't really keep up with some of the guys. He was picked number 145. So being that late in the draft is kind of like if you expected to go early is kind of annoying, I guess you could say, for the player. But since the Senior Bowl, he's cut 20 pounds, which is insane. Because now, if his feet move faster, he's pushing Lucas Niang for that starting right tackle job. Because I don't think Lucas Niang's going to be healthy by the time season starts. And Andrew Wiley's like a swing tackle. He switches it in and out. But he could even move Canard to the guard spot. But if Canard becomes a substantial offensive tackle that can move with his feet, and he's at the right tackle spot, and you have Orlando Brown at the left tackle spot, our offensive line would be set. Patrick Mahomes wouldn't even need to leave the pocket. And if he does leave the pocket, those two guys are going to help contain the edge rushers inside the pocket. So I think this was a great pickup. I love when an offensive lineman plays pissed. I think he has a lot of potential. We'll see how he plays out, but I think he's a good pickup for the Chiefs. So from this, we'll go on to our next pick. So now we're on to the 7th round picks. Obviously these picks aren't going to be like anything crazy. So I think we're just going to make it position based. So Jalen Watson, corner out of Washington State. He's a redshirt senior, so he's on the older side. Excuse me. He's just an addition of bodies for the corner spot. They're just gonna try him out and see how he does. I don't really have much to say about him. I haven't really watched a bunch of tape on him, so I'm just gonna grade this pick as however the NFL has it graded at 5.60, whatever, D or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think, or like a C. I'd say like this is a C pick, just because it's 7th round, you can't really do much. But yeah, on to the next pick. Okay, so this is Isaiah Pacheco, from Rutgers, and he's a 7th round pick. And now you might be wondering why I've covered the 40 time from the combine. So I want you guys to comment and guess what you think he got, because this was really surprising for a 7th round running back, right? So if you comment, whatever. So now if we move this over here, you guys can see that he ran a 4.37, and for a 7th round prospect, that's really good. You're getting a lot of speed out of this guy. And the thing I think with him is he's 5'10", 216, 30-inch arms, 9-inch hands. It's almost the exact same build as Tyreek. Obviously, the 40 time is Tyreek runs a 4.2, pretty much. So the 40 time's not there. He's still really fast though. So I think his main role is going to be like a returner because we don't want Mecole returning. He's going to be carrying the load of one of the big wide receivers. So I think this pick is really good because you get a fast guy that can help you for special teams. And it says he's an average backup. With Ronald Jones and Clyde being our two running backs already, I don't think he's going to see much action in the actual running back room, but I do think he's going to be a great special teamer in returning the ball just because of that speed. So I do think this is a great addition. I would give this pick a B. I don't think I can give any 7th round pick an A unless it was like Justin Ross, but he was an undrafted free agent, so we're going to talk about a little bit about him later. Yeah, so overall I gave this pick a B, and that's pretty good for a 7th rounder. So on to the last pick, I think. So this is the last pick. We have Najee Johnson, another corner. So we took 4 corners in this draft. Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, Trent McDuffie. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't really know much about him. It says average backup or special teamer, so I'm going to go with it. I think he's going to be a pretty good addition. Just another body on the field. Excuse me. He ran a 4.38 40, which is pretty fast. If you're in the 4.3s, that's good. So overall, good prospect. Just another addition of the body. So now we're gonna go on to some of the I think one of the undrafted free agents. So next up we have one of the most intriguing UDFAs of this year, Justin Ross. So I'm sure you guys know the 2019 season with Trevor Lawrence. Justin Ross was the best receiver. His freshman year, he was a stud. Before his injuries and everything, he was probably going to be the number 1 overall receiver taken off the board over everyone else. So we're just going to go over some of his old highlights because he had we'll talk about some of his injuries real quick. So he had a congenital fusion of the spine. Then he had a fusion of vertebrae in his neck. So the spinal condition was bad. And then with a hit, he took something messed up more in his back. So a lot of back issues, neck issues. And then once his back was after he got surgery and everything, then he, what's it called? What was I going to say? Oh, his foot. His foot got injured. So, yeah, just, I think, if he's able to get back to this level of play, I think it's going to be something to watch. So we're just going to watch some of his old highlights and just go over what he used to be able to do. So, great sideline catch, feet inside, as you guys can see. Just an intermediate route. Got 1 foot in. Great awareness there on that play. He's just wide open there. I love how he's backpedaling on a lot of them. That just shows that he's just so athletic to the point where he can just backpedal for balls instead of having to catch them ahead of himself. There you go. This is the type of stuff that would have put him at the number 1 overall receiver taken off the board. Just that speed, separation, high pointing the ball, and then ripping it back from the. That was a PI too. He had his arm locked, and he rips the ball. That was honestly great defense aside from the PI, in my opinion. wide open on that play. So, just plays like these, honestly. Wide open down the middle. With 3 guys around him, too. It's crazy. A yard separation, at least, from between all of them. Or more than that, like 3 yards between all of them. Great end zone play. Great touchdown there. But yeah, so overall, you guys can see that he's just been a great receiver. And hopefully he can get back to that. So I think that wraps it up for today. Thank you guys for watching episode 10, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. So later.